we used meta ads to get 45,000 streams for this artist's album, right? So I wanted to show this backend of the everything of how it works and everything, because this is going to be really interesting. So this is the meta ads side of things. So in this campaign, we did 16 total ad sets for this client, right? So this client of ours, he booked us. This is an R&B song, and we tested both kinds of, like, all kinds of targeting, a lot of visuals, a total of 4 visual styles, I believe, and also different types of visuals, especially, and targeting, right? So what we did was we actually did an experiment, right? We compared both Hype Edit versus Submit Hub, whether the landing pages, the type of landing pages actually matter, right? So the same visual style, the same targeting, but here, as you can see, we did one with just Hype Edit, landing page, and then we also compared it to Submit Hub as well. So right now we're in the maximum time range. We're in the maximum time range right now, where, as you can see, the CPA, the cost per result, is around 0.19, right? 0.19 to 0.21 for the 3 winning ad sets that we had, right? So in this case, how we actually identify a winning ad set is we start new ad sets, and then we decide whether or not they're hitting a certain goal that we have in mind, especially, in relation to the music niche, how the music is framed and how the other ad sets are performing. So let's say for this ad set, it was doing 0.74 CPA, right? So that means that, for every conversion, it was spending 74 cents per conversion. So that's not ideal. Like, ideally, you want to get it down below 0.3, 0.4 for a good campaign, right? Especially if the genre is pretty mainstream or it's pretty accessible. So these are the 4 visual styles that we mainly tested. So we tested a total of 2 AMV styles. So this, an AMV means anime music video or animated music video. So this could be like a cartoon, it could be an animated show like Japanese anime, or it could be a compilation of both, right? Or like just animated content, right? So in this case, it's more of like a user generated content type of vibe, and we wanted to relate people to the content as well, like the song that you're promoting. So this is something that you can consider as well. And we just did something like very basic like this. This is what the first ad looks like. As long as I'm with you, it's too easy for me to be in love. Time since I see you, can't get enough of you. Want me, but I need you. Come and get close to me. And that's the call to action. So the reason why we have this Spotify logo on the ad creative is because a lot of times when you're doom scrolling on Instagram, because we run ads on Instagram Reels mainly, and that's where most of the attraction and conversions actually come from. When you have a Spotify logo, this actually prompts people psychologically to unmute and actually take a listen to the product that you're trying to sell them, in which this case, it's music. So you're trying to convert people to music. You're trying to promote your music to them. So you want to make sure that people are unmuting as much as possible, because they may not have their audio or their sound on the reel as well. So that's why we had this Spotify logo for at least these 2 ad sets as well. So most of the ad creatives, we have this Spotify logo, and sometimes we test it a bit, we tweak it as well. You don't have to always do the same approach, which is what we are also doing, right? So the most important thing about ad creatives is to be as open as possible. Like, we tested so many things, like this is a POV. So as you can see here, this is like a POV text, like POV, you scrolled and found a song that has that retro feel good vibe. So it's something that actually relates to the song. It isn't a one size fits all option. Like this caption, you have to be very careful. Like, it has to make sense for the song, and then it will convert well, right? So in this case, this 2 ads, they didn't really convert as well. I think they were like 0.3, 0.5 as we can see earlier, and they were like pretty high, like cost per conversion. It wasn't terrible, but it was still pretty high. So we wanted to like keep reinventing. So that's why we always test a lot of visuals, and that's why I'll recommend to everyone trying to do ads for their own music as well. So in this case, like here, mood/vibe based ads are something that you can also do. So in this case, this is like you're trying to mimic a certain mood, right? You're trying to let the viewers know or image a certain mood that makes sense with your music. So this can be something like a late night drive, a nighttime scenery in the city, for example, like this case, or perhaps a sunset at a beach. So that's why you can test all these types of mood and vibes, because nowadays most consumers on Instagram, they associate music with a vibe or a mood, right? If you want people to listen to your music has to resonate with them on an emotional and a vibe mood based level. Like if they want to feel happy, for example, they would play a happy song. So you want to make sure to sell them on that sense, indirectly sell them, and actually tell them that, hey, like this song could be good for a certain vibe, right, or certain mood, and that is the value proposition that you're giving the listener there in the first place. So in terms of the winning ads were actually these two. So these two ads were the winning ads, and as you can see here, like this is the winning ad, like verse 2, right? So the verse 2, so actually one very important thing to make sure of is you want to make sure that you're testing out different ads, like different parts of the song. So what do I mean by that? So when we look at Meta Ads Manager here, so we're back here now, as you can see, the way we did the ad sets is we split it by the verses, the parts of the song. So like chorus, verse 1, verse 2, and we also tested like different visuals. So AMV 1, so style 1, chorus, style 1, verse 2. And we just repeat that process, so on and so forth until we find a winning ad, right? So you can do this all from the start as well, and that's how we do things personally. So one important thing is to find out what works best for you, but this is what I would recommend, right? So in this case, right, like the R&B night ad 4, it means, I believe it means one of the chorus or the bridge, right? So we tested the bridge. So in this case, the bridge did really, really well. In that sense, as you can see on how we actually organize the ads, right, for this client, we made sure to test different parts of the song. So in this case, we have verse 1, verse 2, the chorus, the bridge. So test as many parts of the song as possible, and that's how you actually find a winning ad, because you want to make sure to find which part of the song actually resonates with the audience. And sometimes you can be really surprised, right? So that's what marketing is, and that's what like treating like your music with marketing is really about. So you have to have the perspective of, you know, finding the part that actually resonates with the audience, and then that's how you actually leverage and push your song out there. So you can actually push your music out there much more effectively compared to if you only tested one ad creative, one part of the song, and then you never even tried or never even gave the other parts of the song a chance in the first place. So that's what it is, and that's why we do things this way as well. And that's what I will always recommend to every single artist out there. Make sure to test different parts of the song, different creatives. So in this case, this is how we set up the ad as well. So this is one of the winning ads. So we had a total of 3 winning ads. So this was a really, really good campaign, and the cost per conversion was extremely low, like 0.19. So that was actually absolutely nuts, right? So like we did a total of, right now it's at $5 a day, but during the campaign, like the original campaign, it was around, like, we front loaded the budget, so it was around like $10 to $15 a day, right? So I believe it was around $15 a day during the peak of the campaign, and we were front loading it quite hard as well, so we can actually trigger the algorithm, right? So these were the locations, these were the target audiences that we did. So we did like tier 1 to tier 2 countries. So very, very simple. You can copy this list of countries if you want to as well. And yeah, make sure to test out what works for you as well. And the reason why we target tier 2 countries as well is targeting tier 1 countries will be more expensive, right? Like if we test a tier 1 country ad set for a relatively small artist, given that this artist was started off relatively small with a small listener base, a relatively small listener base, what we really wanted to do is to push the song as much as possible. And in this case, with Brazil and Mexico in the mix, right? If they resonate really well with R&B music, which we have indeed seen in our past campaigns with other R&B artists, that way we can get a lot of listeners from Brazil and Mexico. And even if the traction is from Brazil and Mexico from the ads, Spotify as a DSP, they will notice the traction and they will still push the algorithmic streams on the United States. So that's something that's really, really interesting. And that's why, like, the source of streams in the case of an ad, right, it doesn't really matter what country it's from, as long as it's a decent, like, high paying country recognized by Spotify, right? So in this case, Brazil and Mexico, a lot of people tend to shame tier 2 countries, but in this case, I believe that these are great countries to target. These are countries with like a high proportion of music lovers, music consumers, and people love music there as well. So like that's how it is. Like EDM does really well in Latin America as well, and that's why like we would target Latin America for EDM music as well, right? So that's what we did. And in terms of the targeting, it was very simple. We did Spotify. So the winning targeting was Spotify, soul music, contemporary R&B, rhythms and blues, and R&B/soul. So this was the winning targeting. So in the case of other targeting that didn't work out, so let's say we look at the VHS visual style, right? We tested the same targeting, but in this case, the cost per conversion was actually higher. It was 0.40 overall, right? So if you compare it to the winning ad, like 0.21, 0.19, even though the targeting was exactly the same, the cost per conversion was twice expensive. So that's how important the visuals are nowadays, especially with Meta's new update, the push towards AI targeting. They're removing a lot of targeting options. So what's really important is the marketing aspect of making sure that your visuals, that your ad creatives actually help to relate the audience to your music, the music that you're trying to target them towards, that you're trying to bring them towards. Consumers on Instagram, they don't want to feel like they're being advertised to. So that's why the winning ads that we noticed was just something really, really simple. Like as you can see here. So this is the winning ad.
All my life I will be waiting for the kind of love that'll touch my soul. More than just love making. I'm talking deep in my emotions, chemistry so cold. On my way to you, and maybe we can go on a run. It's not.
So it was really, really simple in terms of an ad. And like that's how we do things here as well, right? So in this case of this ad, all we had was just for late night romantics. So in this case, you can set a mood, you can set a vibe. So in this case, we had a night scenery, a urban city scenery, and then we set for late night romantics. So it's like people who are like, you know, late night romantics. So it's something really simple, something really quick, and you don't have to overcomplicate an ad caption. So like a lot of people, they like to type a lot of text, but in this case, people are scrolling on a reel. You have about like 0.3 seconds to literally capture their attention, right? So that's what we did here, and this worked out really, really well for this song. So this is Spotify for artists for this artist song. So in the last 28 days, his campaign actually ended pretty early on. His campaign ended on 21st November, and he still had pretty good traction. So the campaign ended on 21st November. In the last 28 days, he had 15.8k streams. In lifetime, he had nearly 25,000 streams. After I post this video, he probably has crossed that like way further now. And this was around when he started the campaign. So as you can see here, saves are always the holy grail metric that I would use to gauge when a campaign has started as well. So you can use this when you're running campaigns for your own music to see if your ads are working, if your ads are being run properly as well. If there are no saves, then you can be pretty sure that your ads are being run like improperly, and there's something wrong, and you have to take a look at it. But in this case, as you can see, it was pretty straightforward. And yeah, the saves started going up as soon as day one, and it stayed low pretty like at the start, like 15, 19. So this is the learning phase. We're trying to still optimize, trying to find out the winning ad. And then afterwards, we shifted the budget towards the winning ad sets, which were the 3 winning ad sets at the 0.19 CPA. And then that's when the results started popping off. It started compounding. And yeah, so each save is also a unique listener finding your song, and they're saving your song for later on to their library so that they can listen to it later on. And this is like, there's only one save that's possible per listener, per unique user. So that's why it's such an important metric that I always emphasize to look at if you want to find out if people are discovering your music, you know, the level of people that are actually discovering your music and also saving it to their library so that they can enjoy it and consume it later on. So that's how it is. And these people are more likely to also add your song to their own playlist as well. And when people stream music on their own playlist, is much more effective as well. That leads to a lot of repeat listening. As you can see here, we have a 2.2 stream per listener ratio. At the beginning, he had about 1.3 streams per listener. So we actually rose it up to 2.2 after finding the right audience for him. And now the user playlist ads actually increase as well, as you can see here during the campaign. And even now, like without any ads, you know, it's still going pretty well as well. And the client just decided to extend the campaign as well because of how well the ad campaign does and how, you know, effective the conversions are. So the reason why I wanted to show this particular campaign is because I wanted to emphasize on how you can actually promote one song and still get a lot of listener retention across the rest of the album. So in this case, this song is a part of a larger album of a total of 12 songs from this artist. As you can see here, when we look at 12 months, so this artist didn't do any promotional work before he started working with us. So in the 12-month period, right, with me, had a total of 24.9k streams, 10k listeners, 2,300 saves in total, right? So a lot of saves from the ads as well. But the interesting thing is, when people are saving a song from an album, a percentage of them tend to save the album as well. So this was pretty interesting to notice. This was about a 30% save rate in terms of like a lot of the other songs in the album as well. Like as you can see here, like 2.3k saves for the main song that we promoted, and yet the other songs also got like a decent fair share of saves, like 700 saves per song. So that's like 700 people out of these 2,300 people that found the one song from the album and decided to save the other songs in the album or save the entire album in general because they really like this artist sound. And that's what running ads is about as well. That's what promoting music is about, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're not just promoting one song, but you're also promoting your entire catalog and making sure that listeners, like real listeners, actually discovering your music and finding your music to be really attractive to them, and then they can actually discover other existing songs in your project, in your catalog, and then they can actually connect with you as an artist, as a person, and that way you're actually building a real long-term audience. And that's what building a community is as an artist as well, right? So this was a really interesting observation, and even without any promo work, this artist got a few thousand streams on the other songs as well. One of his songs got 6,000 streams without any promotional work, so that was insane, and that was something that was really interesting as well, which is why I wanted to show you what's possible. And imagine if we promoted every single song in his album, this would have been pretty nuts, right? So in this case, don't ever worry about just promoting one song on an album. As long as you nail the campaign for one song in the album, your other songs in the same album will still do pretty well in terms of listener layoff, as long as your music is good and it relates to the audience as well. And the very cool thing about promoting your music like this organically throughout meta ads and also social media content is that you also tend to get a lot of UGC content as well. So in this case, since this song did really well and it actually resonated with the audience, we actually saw some TikTok videos, right? So this is one example of a TikTok video, like someone in Brazil actually danced to the client's music as well. So this is something that you can expect if you actually promote your music properly, and if you actually take the effort and the finances and invest in yourself and actually start marketing your music. And people start dancing to your music, they start making UGC content, you know, like user generated content based on your music, which is how a lot of songs nowadays actually go viral as well. So in this case, we saw a lot of TikTok videos. There were quite a few TikTok videos based on the artist's song, despite us not doing any influencer campaigns. So that's how it is. That's how organic it is. We did not pay any single users to actually do this, and they just went ahead and did this themselves because they discovered the song. They loved the song so much that they went out, actually made a dance video to it and posted it on social media. That's the cool thing. They're sharing your music through word of mouth, through their own social media content, and they're showing people, like their own followers, their friends, their family, your song because of how much they like your song as well. So now back to Spotify for artists. So in this case, in terms of streams, it actually climbed up pretty steadily as well. So we started around October 22nd, and in terms of streams, October 22nd over here, it was at 100 streams every single day. So it was around 190, like 99, 100 streams every single day. And then it slowly started climbing up because we started running ads, people discovering music, and this is what you can expect as well. And then it started compounding and compounding because of the algorithm, and we also started to front load the budget into the winning ads as well. And there we go. And then there was one day where we peaked at 1.1k streams in a single day. Most of the streams are also coming from your profile and catalog, listeners' own playlist and library. Only 8%, a very small percentage, was from other listeners' playlists. So we did not do any playlisting work for this song during the campaign. And most of the song's traction, like 30%, was also coming from Spotify's algorithmic playlist. So this is an ideal composition of streams, of listenership that you really want to achieve with just like music marketing in general. Because when you get your music heard through active channels like this is how you signal to Spotify good data as well. And they actually know that people want to listen to music. People are adding your song through their own playlist, and they're actually streaming it over and over again. Like, let's say you have a song that is like a funk song, for example, and you know, people are adding it to their gym playlist, for example, and they're listening to it over and over again. And that's a really powerful tool because people go to the gym not just once, not just twice during the whole month, right? they go multiple times throughout the week. So, and that means they're gonna listen to your song over and over again, and that's how you actually also get something called super listeners, moderate listeners, people who stream your music over and over again on purpose, and they actually like your music. And eventually, you can even direct them to your social media, and they can even connect with you, and that's how you actually build a community around your music as well. So that's what we wanted for this artist, and that's what we achieved. And in terms of playlists, as you can see here, we barely did any playlisting work at all, and it was just 3.7k streams all from the radio, and a total of like 535 playlists in the last 28 days. If we look at the last 12 months, yeah, 600 playlists as well. So that's how it is. And even though we ended the campaign around here, November 21, this is something that you can expect with any meta ad campaigns, with any like real music marketing that's long term, right? So November 21, we had 800 streams, and then it went down a bit, like to 400. But even though there were no ads being run at this time, there was still traction, and it went up again to nearly 600 in a single day on November 25th, even though there were no ads, no social media content, no like reels or TikToks being posted about the song. So that's how it is. And like, if you get a long tail like this after the campaign has ended, this could usually be a sign that a lot of people are, relating to your music. They really like your music and it's resonating with the audience. With other campaigns that we have seen as well, usually a longer tail would also be directly correlated with to people actually really liking your music, having a higher stream per listener ratio and a high save rate as well. And that could be a winning sign of what a winning song looks like. So in this case, even though there are no ads being run, the artist is now, accruing around 300 streams every single day without any single dollar of ad spend. And that's something that could last for like a year, right? Or like perhaps, like 6 months down the road, it could be 200 streams. That's still 6,000 streams every single month without doing any promotional work. And that's something that's very different from, like, let's say playlisting, where you are literally just paying for streams or like a placement, and then your streams just fall off after the playlisting campaign, and then you're back to like 10 streams every single day, right? So that's something that's really cool about meta ads. That's why I really advocate for it as well as a primary strategy, because you're really building a real listener base. People are streaming your music every single day, and in this case, this artist is getting streamed 300 streams every single day. And this artist right now, he's at 10.9k monthly listeners as of recording this video. So that's how it is. He started off at around 3k monthly listeners, and now we're at 10.9k listeners without any playlisting. It was all meta ads. Now, if we look at this spreadsheet that we also have, which was how we also track performance on a lot of our clients as well, how we do things is we always track out like month 1, how is it? Month 2, we don't put it anything right now because it's still on month 2, right? So we, at the end of month 2 of like after the campaign, then we'll put in the stats. So in this case, in month 1, we saw a save rate of 29% and an engagement rate of 49%. So in this case, right, this is a really, really good save rate. I would say a save rate that's generally good and optimal would be above 20%. So that's something that I would say is pretty good as well. And in a single month, he got 16,000 streams. And the reason why we want to calculate it this way as well is you can actually look at something called the Spotify popularity score. So this is artistxray.com. And this is something that you can use as well, and it's completely free. It's not my website. I am not endorsed by it, or I'm not like affiliated with the website at all, right? So that's how it is. But like, if you search your artist name, for example, like Dead Silence, which is the client in this case, Dead Silence, his popularity score on With Me, which is the song that we promoted, has a popularity score of 31%. We actually started around 13 to 9%, I believe, like 13%, and then we rose it up to 31%. The reason why we wanted this number in the first place is because when your song hits a certain popularity score, and like generally above 20%, you start seeing a way higher algorithmic push on Spotify, because that's how Spotify actually sees that your song is being listened to by a lot of listeners, and it's actually popular out there as well, and people are engaging with it as well. And when you have a higher engagement rate, like as we saw here, where he had an engagement rate of 49%, which is extremely high, and 29% save rate, right? That's when you actually signal to Spotify as well that, hey, I don't only just have a high popularity score, I don't only just have high streams, but I also have a lot of people who are actually saving my song, who actually like my song, right? And that's how you actually signal to Spotify this is a good song, and that it is worthwhile for them to actually push the song as well. So that's how it is, and that's why we always push like music like this. That's why we always track metrics like this as well. And this is something that you can do as well to track your own music's performance, and that's how you can do things as well. And in this case, like, this is how we track things as well. And yeah, like, we even know that like when to hit radio spikes, and this is a spreadsheet that you can use as well in order to track your own music, and I'll link it down in the description as well, and you can start using it to list out every song that you promote, and you can start comparing like performance like overviews as well. Like, this is what the spreadsheet is useful for as well. This is how we do things for a lot of record labels and artists that we have like multiple projects lined up to market them for as well. And this is how you can compare performance and see like which songs are worth promoting, which songs are doing well, which songs should you be investing in more, which songs should you like not invest in like more. So that's how it is. And yeah, so I hope this video has been helpful, especially for indie artists out there who are trying to look to, you know, use meta ads to actually market their own music. And if you're watching this video, you're probably like considering whether to run meta ads. So in general, I would say that meta ads are a good way, especially if you're too busy, you're a full-time artist, right? But you're taking music seriously, but you just also have like a full-time job, for example, and you don't have time to post social media content, or if your social media content isn't working out as like much as you wanted to, and you're still lacking a listener base, right? So in that case, you can supplement it with paid advertising, which is through meta ads, and that's how you actually do things. And you can run ads through Instagram as well. Is it a must to have for artists? No, I don't think so. A lot of artists out there are still very, very successful and doing really, really well. They have grown communities even without meta ads. But this is just to show that, you know, meta ads are something that you can use to grow your music as well. And it is an option that's available for you out there as well. And it is definitely still alive and well. Yeah, so it's definitely still optimal if you do it well. And it is intricate, it is complicated, but this is the learning process. And as an artist, make sure to test out different visuals, different parts of the song, and I guarantee you, you will do well for your music as well, and be open-minded as much as possible. And yeah, so that's how it is. And I hope this video has been helpful in terms of how to do the ad creatives, you know, how to do targeting, how to actually do the ad sets as well. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure here, and take care.